There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. I'm here with Scott of Gunpowder Fiction and Plot and Nell of Book Hunt. And we are talking about literary value, assessing literary worthiness. And it's interesting because literary quality, thank you. And we're also in our cups, so bear with us. But I'm drunk enough that I feel comfortable and not scared to say this, bring this up with Scott, which is that Scott and I disagree. What would you say, Scott? 60, 70, 80% of the time on whether a book is any good or not?
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is really weird because we value really similar things in books. I think we have basically the same set of criteria, and that we both like emotionally evocative literature, connection to characters, and nice prose is the third.
And yet with that same criteria, we often are completely opposite in opinion. And we won't name examples because I don't think that's going to serve the discussion particularly. But so what's that about? I mean, are you always right and I'm always wrong?
Naturally.
I think that you are both sensitive to different things. I think that Sean is much more of a sucker for...
I'm just much more of a sucker, period.
For a beautiful sentence and a beautiful image. Whereas I think that I imagine that when Sean is reading, there are times when he stops and rereads a sentence just because that sentence is beautiful. And I know that my husband doesn't do that.
No.
So I don't think that the craft of language strikes him in the same way.
Okay. So then my question, and either Scott or his beautiful wife Nell can answer this. What does give Scott pause while he's reading?
I think that the books that I definitely want to scream about have a slow build up of emotions for me. So an example I think that I read quite recently was Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer, which is a story about a mother and a daughter, and the mother is terminally ill with cancer. And she is terminally ill.
Sounds like such a Sean book, so I can't wait to try it.
It is. I mean, hopefully this is one of the ones we agree upon. And like you like all of this is you're just focusing on this relationship between the mother and the daughter, and you know what's going to happen at the end of the book. And as this relationship is like nicer and more loving, it slowly builds this like tragic sense of sadness, and it's this real slow build up. I think like Mayflies is another example of like that, just that pulling out to read sadness. And that I think using the pacing, like having it be fast paced and then slowing it down before the tragedy is something that I really enjoy.
And even just hearing you describe these books is getting me all verklempt. So it's not, there's something much more subjective where we diverge.
Yeah.
And I don't tell me if you're the same as me, but it's almost now, Scott, where when I hear that you didn't like a book, I think, oh, I better check that out.
See.
Do you do the same for me now?
I do.
I'm always interested in your bales, Sean.
Do you know,
not because I even disagree with you as much as Sean does, but as much as Scott does, but it's just intriguing. There's an element of FOMO in how much you don't want to read it. Well, I want to see if I don't want to read it that much too. And
okay,
the answer is maybe.
I think it's a good idea to keep this video short as a little tease. I think it's perfect length. But how I'd like to end it is a challenge to you guys and to myself. Nell, maybe Nell's not the best person, but I think Nell would be the perfect person. Why don't you choose a book that neither Scott and I have read that you think might appeal to both of us, and we will read it and have a Zoom chat about it
Oh,
much like in the second half of 2023.
I already know what I want it to be. I'm not sure if either of you will like it, but it's my favorite book. And I would be most interested in both of you because for me, the reason I love it is the language.
Okay. So then if you know what it is, tell us now and
The Book of Daniel by E.L. Doctorow.
Oh, the one that we talked about on the other thing.
Mm.
Are you up for that, Scott?
yeah, I will give that
Sometime
a read.
in the second half of 2023.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will continue this conversation with an actual novel that we've both read, and we will puzzle
Decide
it all out.
who's right.
And those of you who are watching, stay tuned and please join the read along.
Okay.
Thanks, Nell and Scott.